The city lights shimmered against the glass of a luxury restaurant as a soft evening breeze carried the sound of laughter and clinking glasses. Outside, a young mother sat quietly in her wheelchair, holding her daughter's tiny hand. The woman's smile was gentle, but her eyes carried stories of pain and strength, the kind that life forces into people who have already lost too much. Her daughter, barely 8, looked up at her with hope. They had saved for weeks for this one small dinner, a night to feel normal again. But as they reached the entrance, the manager stepped forward, blocking the way. "I'm sorry, ma'am," he said coldly, "but we're full tonight." Lena's voice trembled. "I made a reservation," he smirked. "Our atmosphere is refined. Maybe you'd feel more comfortable elsewhere." Her little girl's smile faded. The woman looked down, humiliated, unaware that 3 engines were about to roar behind her and change everything. If this moment already touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Everyday Heroes. Your support helps us share real stories that prove kindness still exists in this world. 3 bikes pulled up to the curb with a rumbling sound that made every head turn. The noise wasn't harsh, it carried weight, a warning that justice was arriving in leather jackets and worn boots. The bikers killed the engine, swung off their bikes, and removed their helmets in one slow, deliberate motion. The leader, Jake, was a tall man with storm-gray eyes and a streak of silver in his hair. He had the presence of someone who'd seen too much but still believed in doing right. Behind him, Cole, slightly younger, with a quiet, sharp gaze, adjusted his gloves. And Ryder, the third, broad-shouldered and tattooed, crossed his arms, eyes fixed on the scene ahead. Jake's attention fell on the woman in the wheelchair, on the trembling child clutching her arm, and then on the man standing in front of them, arms folded, arrogance written across his face. The sound of laughter inside the restaurant seemed to fade as Jake began to walk forward, boots clicking against the pavement. "Something wrong here?" he asked, his tone calm but heavy. The manager stiffened. "No, sir, everything's fine." Jake's eyes narrowed slightly. "Doesn't look fine." Lena turned her head, startled by the sudden presence of these strangers. She didn't know who they were, but something in their eyes, that quiet strength, made her feel a little less alone. The manager tried to compose himself. "It's just, the restaurant is full tonight. We can't accommodate." "Full?" Cole interrupted, glancing through the window. "Funny. I count at least 6 empty tables." The crowd at the entrance had started whispering now. A few people took out their phones, sensing something was about to happen. Jake looked back at Lena. "Ma'am, did you make a reservation?" "Yes," she said softly, "but I guess it doesn't matter." Jake straightened. "It matters." Then he turned back to the manager. "You got 2 choices, pal. Either you honor her reservation or you explain to the internet why your restaurant discriminates against single moms in wheelchairs." The manager hesitated. He could feel the tension building. Ryder took 1 step closer, his boots scraping against the concrete. "Don't make this harder," he said quietly. The manager's voice broke. "Of course. Right this way." Lena blinked, tears forming in her eyes. She hadn't wanted a scene. She only wanted dinner with her daughter. But now, as the door opened and the bikers gently guided her forward, she felt something stir in her chest. Dignity. Inside, chandeliers sparkled above polished marble floors. People stared as she rolled past, whispering, some out of shock, others out of shame. The bikers followed behind, silent sentinels, their reflections gliding across the glass walls. The hostess led them to a quiet corner table. "Is this okay, ma'am?" she asked. Lena nodded. "It's perfect." Jake crouched beside her. "You and your little one enjoy your meal." She smiled through tears. "I don't know how to thank you." Jake shook his head. "You don't have to. Nobody should have to fight for kindness." When the bikers left, they didn't make a show of it. They walked out the same way they came in, strong, silent, and real. But before they did, Jake slipped a folded note under her napkin. Later, when the waiter brought their drinks, Lena found it. $200 and a handwritten message for your next dinner, from people who still believe in decency. Her hands trembled. Mia looked up. "Mom, are we rich now?" Lena laughed softly, shaking her head. "No, baby, but we're blessed." For the first time in years, her laughter didn't feel forced. It was real. Outside, the bikers sat on their motorcycles again, watching the reflection of mother and child through the window. Ryder exhaled. You think she'll be okay? Jake smiled faintly. She already is. They started their engines, the thunder rolling down the street like a heartbeat of justice. The next morning, the video was everywhere. Someone had recorded the entire scene, from the manager's cruel words to the moment the bikers stood up. Within hours, it hit 1 million views. Comments poured in from around the world. Faith in humanity restored. Respect to the bikers. That woman's smile broke me. Lena saw it too. At first she was embarrassed. Then she read the comments and realized people weren't mocking her. They were standing with her. Her inbox filled with messages. A man from Texas offered her a job she could do from home. A mother in Italy sent her a letter saying, "I watched this with my daughter, and now she knows what courage looks like." The restaurant, on the other hand, faced a storm. The owner called Lena personally to apologize. "We're deeply sorry, Ms. Carter. That manager's behavior was unacceptable. He's no longer with us." But Lena didn't care about revenge. She only cared that her daughter had seen kindness win. If this story warmed your heart, please subscribe to Everyday Heroes. Every click helps us keep spreading true stories that remind the world kindness still wins. Weeks later, a familiar sound echoed down her quiet street. 3 motorcycles slowing to a stop. Mia rushed to the window, gasping, "Mom, it's them!" Lena's heart skipped. She rolled toward the door, and there they were, Jake, Cole, and Ryder standing beside their bikes with easy smiles. Jake lifted a small box. "Heard there's a birthday in the house." Mia ran out, squealing with joy. Inside the box was a tiny model bike and a note, "For the bravest little passenger we've ever seen." Lena's eyes filled with tears. "You didn't have to—" Jake cut her off gently. "We didn't have to that night either, but sometimes doing the right thing isn't a choice. It's who you are." They shared coffee on the porch that evening, talking like old friends. Lena learned that Jake had lost his wife in an accident years ago. Cole had grown up with a disabled sister, and Ryder used to volunteer at a veterans hospital. That's why they stopped. They knew that pain. They couldn't walk away. When they finally left, Lena stood at the gate, watching until the bikes disappeared down the road again. She whispered to herself, "Not all angels have wings. Some ride Harleys." Months passed. The viral video kept circulating, inspiring others. A foundation reached out to Lena, asking her to speak about accessibility and dignity. She was terrified, but she said yes. Standing on a small stage, her wheelchair gleaming under the lights, she looked out at hundreds of faces. "I used to believe I was invisible," she said softly. "But that night, 3 strangers reminded me. We all deserve respect, no matter what our life looks like." Applause filled the hall. Somewhere in the back row, Jake and his crew clapped silently, proud. Afterward, when she wheeled off stage, she found a note. Waiting for her, "Ride strong, Lena. The world needs more hearts like yours." The Road Brothers. 1 year later, that same restaurant changed forever. A new sign hung at its entrance. "All are welcome." And right beside the door, a framed photo of 3 bikers and a smiling mother in a wheelchair. Beneath the words, "Respect, compassion, courage." Lena and Mia visited, sometimes sitting at the same corner table. People recognized them and smiled. Some even said, "You're the reason I started helping others." Mia would giggle every time. "Mom, we're famous." Lena would smile, brushing her hair back. "No, sweetheart. We're just lucky to have met real heroes." Outside, a distant rumble of engines would fade into the evening sky, a sound that always made her heart warm. Because sometimes, the world doesn't change through speeches or politics. It changes through moments. When someone decides to stand up, to care, to be kind. And that's exactly what those bikers did. No act of kindness is ever wasted. The world still has good people, the kind who stand up when others turn away, because sometimes heroes don't fly, they ride.